Hey, good evening, good afternoon to everyone. Hope everybody's doing well as always. Hope everybody's doing good. Thank you for those who's been tuning in to the Rebuilding Community Trust channel. For those who are new, this is the RBC channel dedicated to the community issues, law enforcement issues, or anything that we discuss in pertaining to helping those in the community. And just want to take time to welcome you to the channel. Don't forget the Freedom Fighters channel as well. Just did a couple of videos for that. And don't forget SoundCloud, Spotify, Anchor, all the other streaming venues that I have open if you want to check out more material. And we're going to keep it pushing. So, taking a little lax today. Kind of did something last year for the Black History Month. It's important to me to talk about Black history and talk about certain things that's that's been going on in the news, specifically the last year or so. We've seen a lot with Black relations and things going on in our communities. Last year I talked about the Netflix documentary Assassination of Malcolm X. So I don't know if people have seen it. Kind of did my take on it, and it kind of sparked something in me to continue to do this each year. So I kind of did some digging. We all know about the movies about American Skin and Judas and the Black Messiah movie, Fred Hampton story, or Black Panther Party story, more rather. I have not seen none of those films. I'm at some point I'm going to watch them. It's not because of, a lot of people say don't watch it because they're going to make you angry. It's not that. It's just I didn't have time. But for those who have seen it, I'm sure I saw people that did see it with the reactions, and some people were angry and upset about the stories. So what I did do is actually did some research and dug into the stories of the Black Panther Party, Fred Hampton, dug into COINTELPRO, which is obviously has been one of the FBI's largest programs to distract, disseminate, destroy, slander a lot of the nationalist groups, extremist groups back in the 60s, 70s, and even early as 30 and 40. So I did do some research on that. I did a lot on Fred Hampton. I did a lot on different extremist groups, Black Liberation Army, Young Lords, Martin Luther King, obviously Malcolm X, and Fred Hampton, and even a lady probably a lot of people don't know about her is Viola Liuzzo. So I've done some research on some of this stuff, and even when watching the movie, it's going to kind of add to or kind of solidify a lot I've already done the research, and I'm already disgusted by what I found, but I'm sure the movie's just going to highlight a lot of those key points anyway. But just me doing the research, as Black people, African Americans in this country, obviously we see such a negative connotation of Black history, African American history. It's mentally distraught. I mean, a lot of the different actors and stuff. I know Lakeith Stanfield talked about in one of his his interviews that he needed take a mental health break from the film because of the him playing the character of William O'Neill. Right, one of the FBI informants used as in the COINTELPRO to infiltrate the Black Panther Party. I talked about an individual, I can't remember his name top of my head right now, but talked about an individual in one of the teachings I did last year where he also was used for the COINTELPRO for Malcolm X to infiltrate the Nation of Islam and kind of use an insider type of intel to gain information, to gain layouts, blueprints, organizational operations to destroy the extremist groups or the nationalist groups within. So we got to look at something. I had a conversation with an individual last week. Well, we have a diversity inclusion call, where I work at. And I told this individual we felt like, African Americans as a whole, they don't seem to have that fire, that passion to fight for the injustices and the systematic racism that we feel every day. And one of the things I told him is that everyone lives day to day. When you sit back and look at history, look at the cause of a lot of stuff that's going on. Police brutality. Just had a case. I forgot where, but it was an individual that was tackled by police and put a bag over his head in a murder situation. He was killed by police and they got released. I don't remember the individual's name, but as we continue to see injustice with African Americans, we continue to see systematic racism still oppress African Americans in this country as well. We got to look at the mindset of African Americans today. We got to look at the deep hurt, the wounds that has been carried over day to day throughout history. We think about Hollywood and how they, some, like I said, I think I did one of my videos last time where there's some directors that capitalize on teaching and exposing history and doing the work. There's some good intent. And then there's some African American, not even African American, but some directors, just in general, Hollywood in general, they use that the history aspect to capitalize financially. So when we're dealing with a lot of the films that are made about, a lot of the great forefathers and ancestors and those that have went before us to fight change, and to help African Americans during those specific times, a lot of times you see, a lot of emotion from these films, and a lot of people can't seem to watch it. And one thing I was telling a friend is that it's so disheartening that a lot of people don't want to watch the news. They don't want to see these films because it's emotionally taxing to African Americans, because we all can relate as an African American man or woman, even a minority rather, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, Pacific Islander. And we see these things and we get upset, we get emotional, we get angry, and we want to continue that cycle of oppression and mental oppression or just hate in your heart. So what I told him was, I said, hey, everybody's living day to day. People are trying to make it. People got, you got a pandemic. You got people that don't have jobs. You got all types of situationships that people are in. And a lot of people not really focused on those what's needed to be done as far as African Americans. So I did the last video, if you took the time, I don't know if people took time to watch it, but it's talking about when we think about, what we can do as an individual. Sometimes as we think on what we can do as an individual, it may not be enough, but you never know. A lot of our forefathers took the time to, go out and do something as an individual, whether it's art, whether it's music, whether it's through activism, whether it's through the criminal justice system. Someone took the time to individually come up with a plan to help African Americans in the community. So I feel like, especially in these particular times, we need to take an individual stance on what was needed. So different topics, different things I've looked at. It's a video I'm going to post on my page about, I forgot the guy's name that fast, but he was one of the Capitol Police officers that, did his interview with Good Morning America about the riots, and the fact that he was serving in a capacity as a law enforcement officer to protect the congressmen, protect people in general, just lives. And one of the interesting things he said in his interview was that a lot of the police officers that were participating in the riots, they had badges, they were sworn officers, and they were saying they was going to do this for the actual Capitol Police officer. I can't remember his name right now. But end of the day, when he decided that they talked about politics and they decided who to vote for, who he said he voted for, they called him the N-word. So you got to think about the trauma from that. You're an African-American law enforcement officer who's doing his job, trying to make it home, and you're getting called the N-word, consistently because of who you voted for, and you're wearing a badge, and you're representing law enforcement in a capacity, and the same people that you're trying to protect from, you're protecting, the public. You got the same people that's sworn to protect you or others. They're participating and calling you the N-word. So racism is still alive. And when you go back in history and you look at the operations of COINTELPRO, when you look at why it was designed and made, you see all the fruits of that initiative for 30, 40 years as it went on. It was to the point where it's stuff like that, it didn't matter race at the point. We look at Viola Liuzzo. When I found her, when I started researching her, she was part of COINTELPRO. She was killed doing something for humanity, for African American people, and the same Ku Klux Klan killed her. And she was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman. And it blew my mind because it's like it's no limits to the hate and the greed and the bigotry of people in general. This is why it shouldn't be a loyalty. It should be all love in every race. I've talked to someone and I asked them, how do you feel as an African American man? Are you loyal to one side? He said he's loyal to, he doesn't have a loyalty, because you got to understand William O'Neill, his role, he was a black man His own saved his own skin. He went ahead and went against Fred Hampton. The Black Panthers infiltrated it, endeared them. They became cool, and he ended up selling those blueprints, or not selling, but giving those blueprints to FBI, and that's how he ended up getting killed. You know what I'm saying? So the loyalty factor to one particular race, that's not true. That's not there. So when you think about Black history, you think about people like Howard Thurman. When you think about Fred Hampton, Black Panthers, you think about Huey P. Newton. A lot of good has been done with African Americans. A lot of positives coming from the fruits of what we as African Americans do. And as Black History Month, we have to take time to celebrate and also remember not just the bad, not from the stuff that happened to us on a negative stance, but remember the contributions to humanity. Despite of the slander, despite of people with hate in their hearts, and they don't want to see a change, or they want to see unity or equality, we look at the positives of what African Americans has done generationally through this country. And my contribution, my goal, is to create a blueprint to not only help change, but also, just like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, a lot of our forefathers, a lot of, Medgar Evers, Rosa Parks, Madam C.J. Walker. You can go on and on and on, even up to Kobe Bryant, Chadwick Boseman, those who's passed recently. Everyone has contributed to lay a blueprint for the next generation. When I talk to people and they're just not willing to unite and come together to make change, or they don't know how to make change, or they don't have the therapy or the mindset to make change, or they just don't not knowledgeable, then as individuals, what do we do to contribute to change? And a lot of things that I'm seeing now, and even backing up the Black Panther Party, you had just Hispanics, you had the Young Lords, you had you had AIM, you had the Indian movement. Anime Aquash, I think that's her name. I looked up her up and how she tried to contribute to the movement, and she was killed and by her own. You have all different minorities, Native Americans, Hispanics, Blacks. Fred Hampton and the Black Panther Party created a Rainbow Coalition to bring everyone together to fight for this. Because at the end of the day, yes, it's with African Americans, but you have Hispanics, you have Indians, you have a lot of minorities that are in the same boat. So the Black Panther Party, the movement that they created to unite not just African Americans, but for people in general, it really opened a door for change in a sense of equality, a sense of jobs, a sense of getting a piece of the American pie that we're supposed to get that we still do not have. And you have organizations that try to tear it down or have torn it down at that particular time. And it's done with our own people. If this concept is you can't beat them, join them. Now, there is some, whites, the freedom riders, freedom fighters, those organizations. I think it's called Citizens Communist Party. I think they went in and got the evidence off the FBI to reveal COINTELPRO. Not exactly if I got the name correct, but they're standing with African Americans. Even now, it's like what I've never seen too many whites standing with African Americans. And my job is whites to stand with African Americans. They believe in the cause, and they're educating themselves to learn how to stand with us. But again, it takes heart. It takes a heart, a sympathetic heart, an empathetic heart, and it takes getting beyond yourself to stand with people that are dealing with these struggles day in and day out. So for me to study the much stuff I've studied and still study and still learn, I don't have it all down, but I'm still learning and reading the FBI files and reading just how they mark certain groups and certain individuals. It's asinine. It's crazy to me. But it's all about the heart. It's all about the heart of the individual. It's all about the heart of the people that are doing these things, and even to the point where you're taking out people that looks just like you. You're taking out a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman just because she stood with African Americans, just because you didn't like the fact that she was with a black man. Far as not even in a romantic sexual way. I'm talking about in her story. If you read it up. She was with a young 19-year-old black young teen, and he was going. They was just all she was taking him home, and because you don't like that fact, you shoot and kill her. It's in her part was another interesting fact about her was she used her white privilege to help her friend, which is another African American woman, get a cab. Because when the African American woman back in the early 50s and 60s, they wanted to get a cab, they got ignored. But for her to go out there as a white woman using her white privilege to help her get a cab home, because she said she had to walk miles and miles to her house. And when the cab driver said he wouldn't do it, she cussed the man out, told him, you will take her home. You know what I'm saying? And that's amazing how you can use your white privilege to help a woman or man of color. So love is colorblind. If you care about a people, it's colorblind. So I just feel that with Black history, it's a matter of individually contributing to the cause. Educating yourself. What's the biggest thing is educating yourself and reading and understanding, whites and blacks and Hispanics. They even, in the news the other day, I seen Asian Americans getting hate tagged now because of the coronavirus. So they're also subject to racism. So how do you think that's going to make them feel as a crew, as a culture, as a group, as a race, to think that Americans are racist and hateful towards them because of something that maybe because it came from Wuhan doesn't mean them individuals had something to do with it. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. If the Spanish flu formed from Africa or Egypt or Middle East, now they're targeted, just like Muslims blew up the World Trade Center. Now every Muslim gets targeted. Not that particular Muslim didn't do it. That particular Sunni Muslim or Arab culture didn't do it. But they are targeted because of what somebody else did that they look like them. So it doesn't matter. I think racism is getting to the point where it's getting exposed in all forms. It doesn't matter if you're black now. It's still African Americans, but now you get Asian Americans getting it. You got Native Americans getting it. You got Hispanics getting it. You got all versions of people getting it that are not a majority white. You know what I'm saying? Then the reciprocating factor where the blacks are reciprocating against whites. You got religious groups reciprocating hate towards whites. You got all this stuff is counteracting between each other. And unity, I don't want to say it's far-fetched, but I think people need to get to a point where they can educate themselves and have a sympathetic passion to understanding someone else, what they're going through. You can't assume that all blacks are thugs. You can't assume all Hispanics are eating up on the government's dime, or because they come over here from another country that they're going to take over. They're just trying to provide for their families. You can't assume that all white people are racist. You can't assume that there's some, and I've met and heard people that they never experienced racism in their life. And I said in my mind, how do you not experience it as a white person? But there's some white people that never ever, they're impervious to racism until a black person brings it to their attention. And then even then, are they open-minded enough to understand and also want to learn about what African Americans or Hispanic Americans or even Asian Americans now are going through? So for Black history, this is something that everyone has to want to learn. They have to want to learn what Fred Hampton went through as a young man, 21-year-old man, shot and killed by the police. This law enforcement thing runs deep. It runs all the way through. Back in the 60s, back in the 1800s, back in during slavery, law enforcement has a high reputation of violence. And now when you take the time and you wind it down from early years of when America was founded all the way to the Capitol riots on January 6th, law enforcement is still getting attacked. And now you have a black African-American officer, 6'7". I'll post an interview on my page, and he was fearful for his life to defend the Congress, defend the people that make the decisions in the rotunda in the Capitol Hill, and the very people that they're trying to protect or trying to help calls them the N-word. That is just like a double slap. And the very people that called him an N-word was police. They were Blue Lives Matter flags. They was police officers. One the guy said the guy showed him his badge. An actual law enforcement sworn officer was in that riot, and they still called him N-word. Fellow officer to fellow officer. And that hurts me because now, as a fellow officer, African American officer, I still get the racistic treatment, the systematic racist treatment from my own brother in arms. Brother in blue. Race still divides even law enforcement officers. You can't see that this man is a brother in blue. You can't even respect it. You rather you say it's for the great. He's sacrificed for the greater good. It's a utilitarianistic approach to sacrifice your brother in arms because you feel like you want to take out Mitt Romney or whoever else you want to take out. You know what I'm saying? So it's very hypocritical. And this is why you had Clyde Kerr and rest in peace. This is the stuff he was saying. as a black man, as a law enforcement officer, still feel the systematic racist approach towards him, even serving his community, serving all kids, not just black kids. He still felt that racist tension, and that's why he had enough. So even as an African American law enforcement officer, it's even worth even putting a badge on when you're trying to do your job in good name, in good faith. When you're not crooked, corrupt, you're not out here, you know what I'm saying, being dirty out here. You actually doing your job to do whatever you're called to do, sworn to protect. And you can't do it effectively because you still got to deal with systematic racism within the ranks that you're serving. Military veterans, they're getting chewed and spit out. We got all types of stipulations against active duty military because of what somebody hate or their hearts are. The hearts of man is being exposed. That's all it is. It's just, it don't matter the color. That's why I say loyalty to a race. It don't matter if you loyal for black people to black people, because as we see with Fred Hampton, the very man that got him killed was William O'Neal. Black man, same color, same mindset, poor just like him. Criminal. Now, I don't know if Fred Hampton was a criminal. I don't think he was a criminal, but he was a criminal, but he was poor just like him, living in the same community just like him. And he was used against him to take his life. Same with Malcolm X, same with many other individuals that was involved, that was used in COINTELPRO. You can't be loyal to one race. You got to learn to spread and unite and ally with everyone. And everyone has to have an understanding that their hearts and minds need to be focused on educating, advocating, and sympathetic and empathetic towards the other person. Not no ill will intent that I'm going to infiltrate, or I'm going to destroy or distract, or I'm going to be used to destroy an organization. If you truly believe in the cause for African Americans to get equality and get their what's due, then you have to, as a white man or a white woman or a non-minority, you have to have that sympathetic heart. You have to have that mindset to go in there and serve and be able to learn, educate yourself, and have a cause. But if you don't have that and you have ill intent, it ain't gonna work. Same with black people. Same with Hispanic people. I mean, we can look at many different causes. We can look at many different things. So all the stuff with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Philando Castile and Jacob Blake, and we have everything from history. Rodney King, Martin Luther King. We got all these different individuals throughout history that has suffered at the hands of police or suffered at the hands of any of a racist or hateful person, whether it's their own kind, Anna Mae Quash, Viola Luzo, these people that we don't hear about. White, blonde hair, blue eyed woman, 5 kids in the game, husband, left her home to serve African Americans, marched with Dr. Martin Luther King, loved African Americans, had African American friends, just had genuine love. And she was gunned down by the very people that the same color as her. And then on top of that, slandered her name and said she was in the wrong place at the wrong time, out there slutting and doing that, but she really wasn't. And all she was doing was trying to make a change. But she was killed because of hate and slander. So I challenge people to look at an individual basis. I challenge people to look at their hearts before you be, whether you're white, Hispanic, black, whether you're Asian American, whatever color you are, ethnicity, race, creed, look at your heart. Look at your heart and see, can you really have the gumption, the courage to want to be care for others? Do you really have it in you to look at look at your heart and look and see if you really are about this cause? Because if we don't learn to unite as a whole, as America, as a people, this is going to continue to happen. It's going to keep repeating itself. Honestly, my approach is to create a blueprint or create a legacy enough to pass down to my children and to my future generation. And hopefully and pray that just like Martin Luther King and just like many others that did this back in the 60s and the 40s and many others that laid the blueprint, that we continue to pass it down. But when we're dealing with imperfect systems and imperfect people, nothing's going to be all the way done and fixed. The change can be made. I still believe in change. But when you have people that are continue to be hateful, when you have people that won't stand up and be courageous, when you have people that are scared or they just want to live their daily lives, when they think it's so normalized to get this treatment that you tend to think it's normal and go about your daily lives, and you don't want to take a stand. You don't, at least it don't have to be in a form of protest or activism. Read, educate yourself, go learn your history, learn the laws, learn what history has done. If you got a black business, invest in and educate others. If you are an entrepreneur, or you are a doctor, or find a way to give back, invest time, make resources. And if people ask, how do you do that? It's simple as taking a step, a leap of faith. If you're an entrepreneur, that's something I'm working on. My goal in the next few years, next 2-3 years, is to have a business and to give back to the community, create resources, create programs, do the research, educate yourselves, empower others. That's why RBC was created, to empower others to go out here and educate the communities, and let's look at building opportunities and resources so we can better ourselves as a people. Educate yourself. That's the biggest start to activism. Educate. Learn to educate yourself. So I don't want to make this video too long, but for Black history, salute to Fred Hampton. Salute to Viola Liuzzo. Yes, she's white, but the fact that she laid her life, and the fact that the way she was going about her life and the purpose and the way they just took her out like that, she deserves a salute from me. It ain't about who's black, but she contributed. She gave her life for African Americans. Because if she was a regular white woman in her place doing her, then she wouldn't be dead today. But the fact that she put her life on the line, and she didn't know she was gonna kill that day, but she was doing her, following her heart, standing up for the love of African Americans, and they took her life for that. And she had more courage, and I'm being hunted, more courage than a lot of more white people have today. And I salute her for that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna salute her for that, because when I did the research and read about her, she left her family to come and march with Dr. King and pull up on and did the stuff of supporting and assist the movement. And her life was taken. She was a martyr, and she deserves my salute. Salute you, Viola Liuzzo. Salute you, Anna Mae Aquash. Salute Fred Hampton, Black Panthers. Salute Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Medgar Evers, Chadwick Boseman, Madam C.J. Walker. From my alumni, Mary McLeod Bethune, from Bethune-Cookman University. Salute for all of that. Every black person that has done, who has lost their life, who are continuously doing something today. I ain't talking about people just in the past. I'm talking about currently today. Salute Master P for business and education of money. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of individuals that are out here that are paving the way for African Americans today. Salute a lot of my coworkers that are white, that are standing up and educating themselves. Salute a lot of my coworkers that are standing with me and helping me and supporting the cause. You know who you are. So, you know what I'm saying? End of the day, let's take this Black History Month. That does not make it just a 1 month thing. Learn, educate yourself. Read White Fragility. Watch Robert DiAngelo's videos. Do something to spread the cause and understanding what's going on. So that's all I have. Black History. If you want to watch or listen to the audio clip of what I did last year for the assassination of Malcolm X, is on Anchor and Spotify. You can definitely take a look at it. So be blessed. I hope you get something out of this. I hope you able to be inspired and empowered to stand, educate yourselves, and not just for those that we lost: George Floyd, Philando Castile, Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Jacob Blake, many others that even up to recently lost their lives or been seriously injured by police. Salute to all of them, for George Floyd, to his family, and let's continue to build a relationship or building a community trust among everybody, because it's going to take everybody. Hate is not going to survive. Love is.